All right, welcome to part 2 of this live stream. It's time for the soup du jour.
Ooh, what's the soup du jour?
Well, it's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
Yes. Welcome to the soup du jour. This is our show where we talk about movie and TV topics. And so, in previous weeks, we've covered a few of my most anticipated movies of 2024. And apparently, it really is just my anticipated movies of 2024 because movies expected to do well in the box office, like the movie we covered in part 1 of this live stream, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, and movie like The Fall Guy in the past few weeks, have both bombed at the box office. I mentioned it earlier in part 1. And I'll mention it again here in part 2. This past Memorial Day weekend was actually the worst box office performance in 30 years. So, movies
Not
might be in
good.
trouble. And so, since we both gave, me and Jeremy, we both gave favorable reviews for I almost said Mad Max Fury Road. I meant Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, and we actually also gave a favorable review to The Fall Guy. We thought it would be appropriate that we talk about movie flops for this week's soup du jour. And so, Jeremy, let's go ahead and reveal our top 5 box office flops for movies that we've seen.
Okay. So I kind of restricted it to movies, at least, this is just for myself, not even for Ken. Try to think of movies that were fairly recent. So my honorable mention, I guess my number 6, is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing from 1983?
2.
2. Okay. Yeah. Apparently, it was just too gross, too weird of a movie, which I agree. It is a really gross and weird movie, but it's a good movie and it bombed at the box office. But now it's like a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my honorable mention. The rest of my list, I try to like narrow it down to more recent movies. So I didn't want to go into like the 90s, 80s box office or whatever. But my number 5 is gonna be Ad Astra. So with Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones. I watched this movie. It was a pretty damn empty theater. It was just like, but I felt like it was in a way kind of like Interstellar, but like more low key with the drama.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I like sci-fi movies, especially in space, and it did not get like the love I think it deserved. I don't know. I felt very emotional during that movie, so that's like my kind of underrated pick on my list. My number 4 is The Suicide Squad. The Suicide
Yeah,
Squad,
yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
right.
That almost made my list too,
Yeah.
because I was surprised that it was a box office flop. Actually, I didn't realize it until I was looking up lists and I saw it listed on there. I was like, "What?"
I think it's a mix. Like, I think it's a pretty good movie. I really enjoy it. It's a mix of, yeah, you have the unknown super villain superhero crew, but that didn't stop the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? With James Gunn also helming this movie. I think it's the timing though. It's
Oh yeah.
right, like Guardians of the Galaxy came out like at a pretty peak point when you're almost like to Infinity War at that point, at peak levels of um the MCU. You're still on the rise compared to the DCEU was on the downward slope, if anything, maybe on the floor at this point. And
Plus,
so
post pandemic too didn't help either.
yeah, 2021. So
Mm.
yeah, that I think the box office did not help, or did the movie couldn't save itself. Just everything else. My number 3, I'm going with Steve Jobs because I love that movie so much. Didn't even watch it in theaters, and now I really wish I had, because this movie I would gladly watch in theaters again, or watch in theaters now. And it's just an intense dialogue heavy movie, and but looking at the numbers, I'm like, holy crap, this movie bombed.
Yeah, it did.
But I think it's also because there was that one Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie that I even thought that this movie was. So, and I heard that was not a good movie. So, yeah, my number two, I'm going with The Covenant. I've been raving about this movie, and it was only in theaters for like what 2-3 weeks because it was bombing pretty hard, and then it ended up on Amazon Prime. So if anyone wants to watch that movie, I think it's a good story, pretty good action. And my number one, I don't know if anyone could guess it. It's gonna be Dread 2012, Dread 3D, because it I remember in 2012 tracking the box office for this movie, wanting, it's like, please make enough money so there could be a sequel. And they're like, we talked about it years ago, possibly having a sequel, possibly having a TV show. Nothing has panned out. Can the boy? I love The Boys, but I think it's kind of starting to run its course now. I think like a final season should be announced, and let Carl Urban do Dread. Like, please, I just want that. But yeah, my number one is Dread, because it's probably the one where it's the most unexpected one for me out of the bunch, and it just flopped so bad. Yeah, I did not expect Dread 3D to do well.
When I saw Dread 3D listed on one of the lists that I found online, I was like, that's gonna be Jeremy's number one.
You know already, man. So I'll give the artsy ones, a chance, like Ad Astra. But number one, man, has to be Dread.
Oh shoot! You know, kind of a little off topic, a little bit of a tangent, but we're doing a Carl Urban tangent. Just again, I will probably restart watching The Boys coming up, because the new season, technically we're live streaming on June 1. It's going to be later on this month. Do you know exactly when that season 4 will premiere?
That's a good question. I thought it was early June, like June 7 or something like that. I can check right now.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking that up, my Carl Urban tangent. I rewatched the original Jason Bourne trilogy right before it left Apple TV. I think it left like yesterday. But yesterday I finished with Bourne Ultimatum. But the day before, I watched Bourne Supremacy, and I was like, dang, I forget Carl Urban looks so freaking... He looks so, like, slim in this movie, and he looks really young. And I was like, man, I can't believe this is the same guy that was in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah, he's very versatile with his acting.
He played almost like a Russian agent,
assassin,
right?
Yeah, or agent, yeah.
Asset.
The asset, yeah. He was so good. Even his accent was pretty good too when he was talking in Russian.
Yeah, that car chase scene between him and Bourne,
bro.
Yeah,
I can now say, just because being removed, I think we've talked about how I hadn't watched the Jason Bourne trilogy in a long time prior to these past week or two or whatever. I want to say Supremacy is pretty underrated. I always thought it was easily the worst out of the original 3, but I don't know. I feel like it's much closer now. I feel like they're just all on a similar level. I still think Ultimatum's still my favorite.
I think so too. For me, for some reason, I always thought Identity was your favorite, but they're all like really good.
Ultimatum, man. I was marking out last night when I was rewatching it. I was like,
yeah, and the way it plays with time too. But The Boys season 4 premieres June 13. Not sponsored.
Oh wow! There's like only like a day difference, I think, between that and House of the Dragon.
Oh,
I'm gonna be stuck watching TV this month.
There you go. Yeah. forgot. I feel like there's another TV show that's also coming up besides those two.
The Bear.
Oh, that's right.
And then I think, did Acolyte already start?
I think that's pretty soon. I don't
think
think
yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, I think it's this. I think those were the big four that I was like pretty pumped for.
Yeah,
Well, Acolyte
June
probably.
4. Holy
Yeah.
crap!
Yeah,
People are crapping on that show for some reason. I mean, the first trailer was not good. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a trailer. Nothing was bad, but nothing was great.
yeah,
I mean, but for Star Wars, everyone expects greatness. So
yeah. Admittedly, only because I'm still behind on a lot of the Disney Plus shows. Acolyte is easily the 4th out of 4 most anticipated June TV shows. So
yeah,
Anyway.
I'll eventually get to it.
yeah, I need a rewatch. Rewatch. I need a restart. What's that one with Diego Luna?
Oh, crap. Diego, not Diego Luna. Is that Diego Luna?
I think it is Diego. Unless
From crap.
from
Andor.
Andor. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that is Diego Luna. Don't get
Okay.
me.
I get him and Gabriel Luna mixed up. The Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
Or Joel's brother, Tommy. For the last one.
Yes.
There you go.
I just recently watched that too. I've been doing a lot of rewatching.
Hey.
Last of Us is so good.
It is good. We can't wait for next season.
Yeah. Yeah, we might I might bring up some casting news, I guess, in our new segment, The Simmer. But anyway,
Okay.
for my top 5 box office flops. I was tongue-tied there. Honorable mention, because I felt like I feel like it wouldn't have been a box office flop on a normal year, but this movie came out in 2020. Me and Jeremy had to watch it in Napa. I'm going to say Tenet.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheating. That's why I put it as honorable mention.
Okay.
I love Tenet. And the fact that we got to rewatch it recently within the last few months in IMAX at AMC was pretty amazing to watch it. And again, it's just the what do you call it? The score just it's pulse pounding.
Yeah, it really is. I was like, was it really that loud before? Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. Ludwig Göransson, man. But yeah, Tenet is my honorable mention, only because I'm kind of cheating. Number 5 on my top 5 box office flops sounds familiar. Steve Jobs. I also enjoyed that movie. And I also contributed to the 17 million month figure that it made it domestically. Holy crap. I was like, dang, only 17 million. But hey, they got some money out of me because I did watch that in theaters. And freaking Aaron Sorkin was in his bag with his writing within Steve Jobs. It was so good. And how it focused just on, 3 key moments in Steve Jobs' life.
Mm-hmm.
No spoilers beyond that. But
Yeah,
Steve Jobs, so good. Definitely worthy of making this list. Number 4, we covered it on a earlier episode of our podcast. It was Jeremy's contribution to his favorite childhood movie, one of his anyway, Iron Giant. Yeah. That movie was so good. I was late to the party, and I was surprised that it only made 20 million domestically, especially for being a kids movie.
Right?
You would think that, kids would want to go see it. And my God, I was an emotional wreck at the end of the movie.
Such a good movie.
Yes. Thank you again for sharing.
Of course.
Yeah. Number 3, I've mentioned it on a few of our Soup du Jour lists recently, so I won't go in depth into it. But Blade Runner 2049 is a movie that I revisited earlier this podcast season after watching it in theaters. I contributed to money, but I fell asleep. It was more of a donation, but I was surprised that it lost $80 million total. And I mean, it was so good. Again, I think I'll reiterate Jeremy's. You got to go see it eventually once you watch the first Blade Runner. Number 2, I think this was maybe what you were referring to with some of the kind of omitting like the 90s, because these last two are made in the 90s. Number 2, I
Okay.
have Fight Club.
There you go.
It was ahead of its time. It's so iconic, but it only made 37 million at the box office. And I mean, we covered it. Go check out that movie. I think it was in season 1, right?
I think that was season 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Fight Club for you.
Yeah, Fight Club was really good, and I think I was happy that I got to introduce that movie to Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
And at number 1, another movie that I shared with Jeremy. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it only made $28 million domestically. Shawshank Redemption. It is so good. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely a slow burn movie, but the writing is so good. The acting is so good. Obviously, you get Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, and then a bunch of memorable side characters that you emotionally invest in. And man, Shawshank Redemption is still to this day one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's number 1.
Dang, I did not know that movie bummed. Because
Yeah.
I always, like, just growing up, I thought it was like, oh, this is a classic. Like, this is a cult classic movie, you know? Like, everyone loves it. Everyone must have seen it.
I think this movie came out in 1994, and it got overshadowed in that same Oscar season by movies like Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump.
Dude. Dang, that year's crazy. What the heck?
Yeah, you got to look at the other nominees. I forget what else was nominated, but those are just the three of them that got nominated. I was like,
That's
holy
insane.
crap! It's
Imagine
insane.
having that nowadays.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Getting classics like that all in one year.
yeah. It was so good, but yeah, very different list. I'm glad that we only intersected once, Steve Jobs, and I feel like it was well deserved because that movie was intense for it being just dialogue driven.
Yeah. So anyone who hasn't seen that movie, and so I know some people have their apprehension of older movies, so this is a good, like, this came out within the last 10 years, so go see it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into our latest segment for the soup du jour. We call it the simmer. Ordinarily, we would go ahead and I guess kind of react to some comments or whatever, but again, we kind of threw this kind of last minute in terms of this live stream. So I thought that we could take this time to maybe talk about some random maybe TV or movie news that we've seen recently. And so did you want to talk about any before I kind of bring up some?
Let's see. I remember there was something like a news I saw. Crap. Oh,
okay. There you go.
here, I got one.
Okay.
Jeremy Renner in the Knives Out movie. What do you think about that? People are like, I bet he's the villain.
Did you see the one video? I forget if it was on TikTok or on Instagram where they're like, yeah, he's probably the villain because if you think about the last 2 movies, it was all actors from the MCU with spoiler alert for the first one, Chris Evans, Captain America being the main villain, and then obviously they try to make it seem like Drax was the villain in Glass Onion, but it ended up being the Hulk himself, Ed Norton.
Speaking of Fight Club,
yeah, I'm on board with it.
maybe that's
you know,
what
it'd
they
be
want
pretty
you
cool
to think.
Yeah, I'm on board. I hope they kill him off like all of a sudden, just randomly, to throw everyone off the scent.
Dang, and they just bring him back, or
no, just like
he's
literally
dead.
kill him off.
just like Bautista, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how they would be able to present or kind of bait and switch to whoever the actual quote unquote killer would be in this
he
sort of.
could be.
Yeah,
He could be the villain.
yeah.
Never know.
Or maybe it's his evil twin. I don't know.
Oh yeah. There we go.
But yeah, how I think we may have talked about it. I don't know if it was offline or not, but how? All right, what's your anticipation level as far as this third Knives Out movie? Like, are you like pumped for it? Like on a
I
scale
think
of
I'm
one to
pretty
10?
excited. Yeah, like I would definitely watch it like first day it comes out.
Hmm.
It's all like Netflix stuff, right?
Netflix,
So,
yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, I watched it. I was I'm pretty excited. If you see Jeremy Renner's character being a little bit more eccentric, I bet he's the villain. But if he's like kind of just more mellow, then he's not. I bet. Because all the villains have so far have been kind of the more eccentric characters. I mean, they kind of all are, but
yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think we're gonna get like an intense type, like from the town, like Jeremy Renner,
Yeah.
or from Hurt Locker. I think we'll get more of a kind of a goofier Jeremy Renner, just to kind of give him a little personality. Because I feel like that's the overall tone of these Knives Out movies anyway.
Yeah.
And then they have to be memorable in a way where it's like, okay, you got to suspect everyone, right?
Hmm. And because you know that they're eventually gonna solve who it is, right? It's like a who's who um, movie. But so far with these last two movies, they've kept you engaged throughout, and there are fun things that happen, even though you know eventually it's going to be solved, and maybe you guessed right or not. But it's all about the journey to the reveal, right? I think that's
Yeah,
where they got to mix things up to keep it fresh. So hopefully
yeah.
it's not just like a repaint of
Kind
the
of a
last two.
retread. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
retread.
I felt like
So,
Glass Onion did a good
mhm,
job in being
mhm.
distinguishing itself differently than the original Knives Out.
Yeah. And having more Daniel Craig as that character is
Benoit
definitely a
Blanc.
plus. Definitely a plus for the sequel.
Yeah, I like his Georgia accent. It's so good. Speaking of castings, I actually have a few of them.
Hmm.
One, how do you feel? I mean, we talked about Chris Hemsworth. Obviously, that he's going to voice Optimus Prime in Transformers One, but they're also thinking of possibly him starring in Paramount's Transformers GI Joe crossover movie. One, are you on board with casting him? Two, if you are, who do you think he will play?
Ooh. He should just be Duke. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
that's what everyone's talking about.
Like,
I'm on board with it.
but then if you have him as Duke, then that means we're not in the Rock Dwayne Johnson universe. Then that means Channing Tatum's not Duke. No, but I'm all good with that. Like, I would love, I just bring back Chris Hemsworth and Henry Golding as Snake Eyes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So let Chris Hemsworth be Duke or something. Um, I know I'm have a guilty pleasure for the
The
Channing
first GI
Tatum
Joe. Yeah.
and Dwayne Johnson movies, but do they need to come back? Not necessarily. Am I gonna feel like it's just gonna be Chris Hemsworth as his character in Extraction versus his Transformers? Probably.
Probably.
Which I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it a few times where we both were fans of, or are fans, I should say, of the first two Extraction movies. I forget how the second one ended. I think I watched that one too quickly. But you think there's gonna be a third Extraction?
I think so
Yeah.
because the way it ends, I rewatched it again recently.
Oh, you did?
I feel like you should rewatch it again. Just to, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're setting up a
A third
sequel.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally forgot. I think I've only seen it the one time, like when it first premiered, and I was able to watch them kind of back to back because
Yeah.
I also kind of forgot about what happens in the first one. But oddly enough, now because I did that one rewatch of the first one, I do remember it.
Yeah. So it's like I do like the second one more. Not saying the first one's bad, but I do like the second Extraction.
I agree with you. I enjoyed certain aspects of Extraction just because they obviously introduced it. I mean, we've talked about the tracking shot, but I felt like they took what they built in from the first one. I thought they elevated it really well in the second one. I did enjoy the second one more.
Okay.
I just need to rewatch it.
Yeah. Was there any other casting news that you wanted to mention?
I have two of them actually.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for tossing it to me. One, oh, here's that. So earlier today, actually no, sorry, yesterday,
Okay.
Giancarlo Esposito, aka Gus Fring, is officially cast in Captain America 4 as a mystery villain.
He's Blade. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
When I saw the picture of him, I was just kidding. He's not Blade.
But like, how do you feel about that casting choice?
I mean, dude, he kills every role that he's been in that I've seen him in so far.
Yeah.
Does his costume look a little funky? Like a little bit, you know, but those are set photos. So it's not color graded, whatever. He's kind of like in that long trench coat kind of thing. That's why I joke he would be Blade. But you know, I'm down for that. Is he the villain though? Probably.
Yeah.
Knowing his track record. But it would be kind of a nice twist that he wouldn't be a villain, you know?
Yeah, he plays such a good villain.
Yeah.
Such a good villain. I kind of want to rewatch Breaking Bad again or Breaking Better Call Saul just because of him. And then obviously he does a good job in oh my goodness, The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in some recent other projects, and I feel like whenever he gets cast, it throws some cachet into whatever project he's in, whether it's a TV show or a movie. Just because he's just got that character honed perfectly.
Yeah, he has that gravitas about him where he even played a villain in a video game, Far Cry 6. So it's just like, okay, why is he even in this too? So whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm up for it. That makes me a little more excited just to see a good face on screen.
Yes, especially one that's just a really good actor.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of just other fun ones. Those were the main casting ones. The other one that just literally came out right before, Godzilla -1, just surprisingly is now on Netflix as of last night.
Oh, wait, -1.
-1.
Are you sure it's not King of the Monsters?
-1, bro.
Oh, okay.
It says surprise. Godzilla -1 surprise dropped on Netflix overnight.
Do they have the black and white version? That would be
I haven't
cool,
checked.
right?
I haven't checked, but that would be pretty cool. I would love to watch it in black and white.
Yeah, minus color.
That's
cool.
Yeah. And the other random thing that I recently saw was, I think I sent it to you. What'd you think of the popcorn bucket reveal for Deadpool and Wolverine?
I mean, it's very Deadpool. So, yeah, let's just say that. It's very Deadpool. I like it. Such a, Deadpool has to be meta. And, it's definitely meta.
Let me ask you this. Are you inclined to purchase said popcorn bucket?
I don't think so, man. I think, wait, for you. For you. Like,
why are all the popcorn buckets that I want to get like so very let's just say exotic looking?
There you go. You gotta have the match, you gotta have the full collection. This is the Deadpool version, you know what I mean?
I know.
The Deadpool collection.
Ryan Reynolds was not kidding where he said he was gonna come up with a popcorn bucket that will rival the Dune one. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I know Sean, who's usually in the comments section, I feel like that's very up his alley. He loves Dune and he loves Deadpool.
Yeah.
So this is and he loves popcorn buckets. I don't know if he got the Dune one, but get get the Deadpool one, Sean. If you're listening to this eventually,
Bro, when they had the butter, I was like, no, why? Why? Why Ryan Reynolds?
there you go. Such a Deadpool thing to do with him. He's literally Deadpool at this point.
He is. He definitely is. Any other random things that you came across for The Simmer?
Oh, okay. Just a quick one.
Yeah.
The casting for The Last of Us season 2.
Oh, that was the other one. I knew there was one that I was missing.
I was like, it's kind of mentioned that.
Yeah,
okay,
I forgot about it.
Yeah. Caitlin Dever as a character from the second game of The Last of Us, and I know this is not a unpopular opinion, but because everyone was saying it pre season 1 that she should have been cast as Ellie in season 1, and watching her in Justified, I was like, literally, she was born to play Ellie, and then they didn't cast her. And nothing against Bella Ramsey, which I think is doing a really good job in The Last of Us, but just I was like, dang, why would they cast Caitlin Dever now as this other character? Even though it's like, I don't know, they must have heard. I don't know. WB could always be super tone deaf. But it's kind of weird that everyone was like, cast her as Ellie, and then now they cast her as somebody else as a pretty significant character in The Last of Us lore. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna do that. I don't want to give anything away for Ken, everyone.
Oh, so The Last of Us casting news was actually different, the one that I heard. So I don't know if you heard this one before, but they, I think, officially cast Jeffrey Wright to reprise his role within the video game. I don't know what this, I try to stay away from the thing. That's why I saw it real quick. Jeffrey Wright, I think, is officially part of season 2.
See, just like Giancarlo Esposito, he gives that gravitas. He's like the other side of that coin. Just throw him in there.
Yes.
And he brings it, So I am glad that he's another talented figure to add to the pool that we get in The Last of Us 2.
Ooh. Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Like, I recently did the original Hunger Games. I forgot to complete what my original intention was to finally watch that prequel Hunger Games. I still haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
But Jeffrey Wright was even good in that, and obviously he was just more of a side character in the Hunger Games franchise. So I feel like he does such a good job. I'm very curious to see obviously what he does in The Last of Us season 2, and obviously as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman whenever that comes out in maybe 26 or 27. I don't know whenever that happens.
Movie needs to come out faster, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Too many delays.
Oh, he's hilarious.
I mean, that buddy cop vibe with him and Batman.
It's so good, dude. Speaking of Batman, because I kind of wanted to kind of book in the simmer with this piece of casting news. I lied. I thought I was done, but I'm not. I saw this thing on Instagram. It basically says, actually, guess who said this?
On Instagram.
Well, that's where I'm reading it from.
Okay.
Guess which actor said this? I would have a wild take on Batman. It would probably be closer to Michael Keaton. Who said that about playing Batman?
Cillian Murphy.
Wrong.
Damn. Who is it?
I'll give you a hint. We've covered and will cover multiple movies in season 7.
No way. Is it Glenn Powell? Yeah.
Just so that you know, I'm not joking, bro.
There you go.
I thought it was a perfect way to kind of book in this episode.
I mean, he's kind of like the new Iceman, in Top Gun.
Okay, kind of like Val Kilmer vibes.
There you go. If you never need a replacement Batman,
Yeah.
Val Kilmer.
And it's not like it's not like they've officially named a Batman in James Gunn's DCU. So
there you go. And did you know that he had a role? He was a bank stock guy, Wall Street guy in The Dark Knight
Rises. Yes. He was the guy that got his head smashed in my Bane.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
There's no money here.
Then why are you people here? Oh, man. So good. It all ties in together.
Yeah. It's just a Batman different universe. Yes,
exactly. I couldn't think of a better way to end this this version of the Simmer. Let's wrap up this episode with one last thing, Jeremy.
Okay, so I actually watched rewatched two movies that I would actually recommend. I watched Anna on Netflix. I think it was a 2019 movie. Kind of got another box office flop, kind of hidden on the radar. Some weird stuff behind the scenes that the studios kind of pushed it under the rug. Still a good movie. And I watched Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Wait, where's that streaming?
I rented it on YouTube. Yeah, I know.
So it's not streaming anywhere, right? Because I think I looked it up after our Ryan Gosling fest from a few weeks ago, and I was like, dang, it's not streaming anywhere.
It's not streaming, but I watched it. I'm like, damn, this movie still is good.
Yeah, no, I got called out on TikTok for omitting it from my list. I was like, I haven't seen it yet.
You gotta watch it, man. You'll like it, I think.
And you know what? I might check it again, just obviously because we're live streaming on June 1, and usually that's where they'll kind of reshuffle the deck in terms of what's on what platform. So hopefully Drive is now available somewhere. So I'll definitely check that once we go offline. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll see. For my one last thing, I'm also going to mention something that I recently watched on Netflix. And I think this is the first time I'm sharing the fact that I watched a short film. The short film that I watched on Netflix came out last year, and it's called The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which was directed by Wes Anderson. It's starring Ray Fiennes, Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, and Ben Kingsley. And my goodness, it's only 40 minutes long. I wanted to watch something real quick, and I didn't necessarily want to start a TV show because I plan on doing all those rewatches. So I was like, for one last thing, let's check this out. And in typical Wes Anderson fashion, dude, he's such a good storyteller, and obviously you got the signature what do you call that style that Wes Anderson portrays with his camera work and everything, and the way he presents his medium. And oh my god, his storytelling is just top notch in this. It's so good. It's super fast paced with the storytelling, and yeah, I was entertained by it, and I would definitely recommend this, especially if you are a fan of Wes Anderson.
There you go. Sounds like a stacked cast right there.
Yeah, it's very quick watch too. It's just don't blink. It's witty, it's fun, it's total Wes Anderson at his best. Very good. Very good. Well, Jeremy, we didn't miss anything, right?
I think we got everything.
Yeah. So again, if you missed part 1, check out Furiosa Mad Max Saga. It's out now in theaters. I don't think it's gonna get the Fall Guy treatment. Hopefully it doesn't, because we don't want to encourage straight to streaming on demand or whatever 2 weeks after its release date. So definitely check that out. Check out last week's episode on If. I think some mixed reviews on that. I enjoyed it personally, but yeah, check out that episode as well. And so on behalf of Jeremy, my name is Ken. We are the Weekly Reel Podcast. Check us out on our next live stream on June 12th for our favorite actor in the whole wide world, Glenn Powell, as he plays a hitman in Hitman. So surprise, surprise.
There you go.
definitely looking forward to that. So
Mhm.
check us out on June 12th as we close another week on The Real.